As I talk to you today, the world is in chaos. Russia has invaded Ukraine on 24th February 2022, and Ukraine's capital has been surrounded by Russian troops. While Russia has also issued a threat to nuclear war, the citizens of Ukraine have joined forces against the Russian troops to protect their motherland. Majority of the world economies are trying to prevent the war using economic measures. Now that cryptocurrency is a few $1 trillion large asset, it is very crucial to cover that topic, and that's what I wanted to do in this video. But first of all, war is strictly against humanity. The only people who suffer through this war are the common citizens, and this is really unfortunate and grim situation which we have to face in 21st century. We have to try to end it as soon as possible, restoring peace at the earliest and helping fellow humans who are caught in this situation. So I'll start with a few measures which other countries are taking to either stop the war or help the people caught in the war. Countries are donating weapons, machinery, equipments, rations to Ukrainian people to support them. Few countries are housing refugees like Poland. A lot of Ukrainian refugees have gone there to save their lives with their parents, children. We are seeing protests happening all around the world, even in some parts of Russia. Although those people who are protesting in Russia have been detained, a lot of people have been detained by the police. Some of the non-conventional organizations like hackers, groups of hackers like Anonymous, they have also raised war against Russia in order to protect Ukrainian people and trying to force president of Russia to stop this. But the most important of all these measures which other countries are trying to place is trying to impose economic sanctions on the country of Russia. So what exactly is a economical sanction? First of all, there are different types of sanction, one of which is economic sanctions, which most of the countries are trying to impose on Russia. Economic sanctions are basically financial and commercial penalties which a country tries to impose on another country to hinder its ability to participate in the global economy. So what happens is a country issues a set of rules called sanction. For example, let's say US issues a rule that my country won't trade with any of the country B or Russia. So the banks of US will now monitor any transaction happening between these two countries and will block and inform US government that these are the transactions which are trying to take place. So any of the transactions are blocked. Suppose Russia was now trying to buy some not groceries basically, some import some food materials or food supplies or some resources from US. Now they won't be able to do that because the transaction has been stopped. So all the imports which Russia was trying to do, those would be banned, and that will impact in general the overall economy of Russia. Now on the other hand, if they were exporting something and there is an export ban or a sanction on exports, then they won't be able to export and generate revenue. Okay, if they are not able to generate revenue, the economy will plunge down. So many countries have imposed sanctions on Russia as I'm talking right now, and the effects of these sanctions, let's discuss a few. Like the Russian currency, that has fell by 30% in just a few days, and this is the reason why they had to close their stock market so that the Russian currency does not fall any further. The economy is under huge stress. People are going to banks and taking cash out. So the whole Russian economy does not have that much liquidity. Recently, the US president hosted a press conference where he talked about severe measures which the country is planning to take all along with other countries. So they mentioned, President Biden mentions that he has formed a coalition of countries which account for more than half of the global economy. So all these countries are coming together and imposing sanctions on Russia, which would have a more long-term impact rather than quick short-term impacts. They have even banned the Russian airlines from landing onto other countries, and Russia has taken a similar step to ban other countries coming to their airfields. Surprising and moving thing which happened according to me was Switzerland taking part in imposing these sanctions. Switzerland has been a neutral country and they did not even take part in the World War, but now they have also supported sanctions and imposed sanctions on Russia. On the other hand, FIFA has suspended Russia from participating in the Football World Cup, and there has been a few symbolic effects around the world, like people have boycotted Russian vodka and Russian goods. But you have to understand that sanctions do not prevent war. They are just a measure to force the other economy, force Russia to stop doing what they are doing. Otherwise, they will have to face severe economic and global consequences. Right now, what is happening is other countries have ostracized Russia, and it's like they are left all alone in the global war, and everyone is supporting Ukraine. Even the Ukrainian president, he gave a speech in the European Union, and he was given a standing ovation. While when Russian ambassador gave a speech in the United Nations, many ambassadors walked out of the room. Now, these economic sanctions prevent Russian economy to buy and trade goods. So their currency is already falling, and they won't be able to buy any other things from other currencies. Their foreign reserves, although they have a huge foreign reserve, but that will exhaust soon. Now, what happens is they can still trade in cryptocurrency, as cryptocurrency in general cannot be tracked. Remember the step where I told that banks monitor the transactions between these two countries or between countries and block all those transactions? In the case of crypto, there is no bank, there is no middleman. So all the transactions happen directly and there is no government control over that. However, there is a different type of you can say semi-decentralized cryptocurrency or centralized cryptocurrencies, which are managed by centralized exchanges. So these exchanges take KYC of their customers, and only after that they provide crypto transactions. So although the crypto transaction is happening on the blockchain, but these exchanges know the detail of the people transacting them. So different countries have urged these exchanges to help them in improving the efficacy of sanctions and imposing sanctions. Another point is that everyone can trade in cryptocurrency. In order for you to spend crypto earnings, you will have to first convert it into fiat currency in most of the cases, which if someone tries to do, they will be tracked down. This makes cryptocurrency relatively trackable and traceable, and people cannot evade sanctions using this particular method. However, cryptocurrency is not all bad during a war situation, because on the one hand, countries can evade sanctions, but on the other hand, crypto wealth is always in your hand. It will not be in the hands of your government. It will not be in the hands of any of the economic situation in a particular region, but your currency is global currency. For example, if you own Bitcoin, unless the whole global Bitcoin market collapses, your wealth will be secured. It's not related to inflation in a particular region or freezing of bank assets. For example, there was a situation where a Ukrainian person who had his assets in Bitcoin and his banking assets, the regular fiat currency assets, were frozen by the Ukraine government because they also need funds and it's a war. There is martial law over there. So his funds were frozen by the banks and he had to get out of the country. He wanted to flee the country. And in order to do that, he used his crypto assets like Bitcoin to pay to different people and cross to the border of Poland. I have also linked the article in the description. So to summarize, in war situation, if a country tries to impose sanctions on other country, if the country on which the sanctions are imposed is trying to use a cryptocurrency, then they might be able to evade sanctions in the short term. But on the other hand, it also gives people all the power in their hand. Their wealth is secured by global economy, not just a local economy, and they can still function pay things and get out of certain bad situations. This video is not to prove if crypto is right or wrong. I just wanted to give you a context of what happens in a war situation if a country is using cryptocurrencies. Right now, what is happening is governments around the world are monitoring cryptocurrency very closely, and also Russia might have planned to use cryptocurrency to their advantage. I have added further details of my research in the description for your reference. Before closing, I just want to mention one thing, that this is war, and I guess majority of people who are watching right now don't want it. At least I don't want it. I don't know what is right, which media is right, or which media is showing us impartially the correct facts and figures. Ultimately, if there is a war, lives are being lost, which is bad, and let's stand together with the citizens of all the countries.